Today we're going to take a look at Hitman Blood Money, one of my all-time favorite Xbox 360 games. This game is hilarious, man. I actually included this game in my part 2 of Perfect 10 out of 10 Xbox 360 games video that I just released. If that tells you how highly I think of Hitman Blood Money, check that video out after this one. Simultaneously released on 6th gen consoles like Xbox and PS2, the Xbox 360 version was functionally an upgraded version with better visuals and performance across the board. This is, in my opinion, the definitive version of the game, and the first time developer IO Interactive really found the optimized Hitman formula. At least, that's if memory serves correctly. Let's take a closer look and see if it holds up. I personally think Hitman Blood Money is a pretty good looking game, especially considering the simultaneous last-gen release, and the fact that it was so early in the Xbox 360's lifecycle, but I'm not going to argue that the cinematics are not a little uncanny. They're pretty crusty and not the best, but in-game models and gameplay look just fine. It's perfectly playable and not overly distracting. One of the highlights of the game is the super noteworthy physics engine that really lends itself to the unintentional humor of the presentation. The spastic ragdolling of the people you're dragging around is pretty hilarious. Not to mention you can walk up and just, oopsie, shove someone off a balcony or chuck a coin at their head. I mean, they really try to maximize player freedom here, so the world is your oyster, and the possibilities for shenanigans are endless. Each level that you visit is very layered. There's objectives and checkpoints that you're going to advance through as you go, and it does a good job to visually communicate well to the player on the many ways to complete objectives. Something games should do more of, honestly. Let the player figure it out. Don't tell me what to do. I don't want to linger too long here, but just as an example, there's a mission where you need to enter a house, and the front door is guarded by FBI agents, so you need to get past them to take out your target inside. So, just entering the house, you can run right past the guards and have them chase you and go in guns blazing. You can sabotage the utility box on the side of the house and the guard will go check it out. You can, if you spot the treehouse in the distance in the side yard, climb the treehouse and find an air rifle. You can use that to shoot the security camera to distract the guard, who will go and check it out. You can also load a tranquilizer dart into the air rifle and shoot the dog guarding the backyard to put it to sleep so that you can enter through the back gate. Not only that, but you can choose instead to just disguise yourself as an FBI agent, the trash man, or the clown showing up for the birthday party that's occurring at this house, which is by far the funniest option, but this is just one example of the amount of player freedom and creative expression that you can use just to get in the front door. That doesn't count all the other objectives. This is a huge facet of this game's presentation because all of these different methods of entry are hinted at with subtle tells and clues that you can pick up on if you're observant and watching the scenario unfold. And while graphical fidelity isn't really the strong suit here, that doesn't mean that some levels aren't visually impressive. The Mardi Gras level in the Murder of Crows mission has a tremendous number of NPCs all walking around in a huge swarm, and they have actual collision. And they've achieved this through some trickery, like cycling the same NPC designs over and over and having them fade out as they hit the boundaries, but despite the trickery, it does a really good job of giving you this feeling that you're hiding in the crowd. And I gotta say, the set design is really well done. Every level feels extremely unique and very much unlike the one before. You'll advance from killing an opera singer during their presentation in a grand hall, to invading a birthday party, to assassinate an ex-cartel member, to invading what feels like an Eyes Wide Shut party. They're all super unique and really fun to explore. The gameplay of Hitman Blood Money is very unique, and I saw it very accurately described once in a way that I really liked. They called it a clockwork dollhouse in a bit of a murder sandbox, and I think that really speaks to what this game is perfectly. Scenarios advance on a schedule along with the NPCs having their set routines that they go through from the start of the level. So you learn the schedule, and then you can execute certain tasks at certain times to make the level play out in very different ways. Just a made-up example, you gotta wait for the chef to leave the kitchen to answer the phone so that you can go in and poison the food, but you obviously need to do that before the food is served, so you'll need to work that into your schedule when you start the level. And again, just to reiterate, there's typically a handful of ways to complete any one objective, and the levels communicate this effectively to the player through visual cues. In fact, the developer directly stated that the objective of the game was to leave the methods of objective completion up to the player, that they would simply provide you with a plethora of tools to get the job done. And then based on fan feedback from previous game, they added new features as well, such as vertically scalable environments with more interactive components. You can hide in lockers and crates. You can store bodies to avoid detection. You can take hostages if you have one of your firearms out. One of the cooler additions is the accident system, where you can take people out in creative ways and trick everyone around into thinking it was an accident, foregoing the typical hostile response a discovered body would normally trigger. And that's just one facet of the many improvements to NPCs that they made from previous games. Like, for example, they stay knocked out now for the duration of the level if you knock someone unconscious, instead of waking up like a high alert alarm clock after 5 minutes. NPCs will also now ask you to leave restricted areas, instead of it immediately triggering aggro on every hostile NPC within a city block. You can also now throw items to distract and move NPCs, with the designated coin item that you start each mission with being highly abusable. Check out speedruns if you want to see an insane amount of skill expression and system abuse. And you can even throw lethal items like a knife to take somebody out. This improvement to the systems and AI finally allowed the player to embrace the role of Agent 47 and enjoy all the fun little tools and environmental quirks without bad design breaking the immersion and getting in the way of using your creativity to interact with this fun world and tools that they've laid out for you. You can also upgrade your tools and weapons with the money provided through mission completion, but in practice, I didn't find this to be a very compelling progression system, but it's nice to have some way to advance your capabilities as you make your way deeper into the levels of the game. Performance was generally really good, couple small stutters in the playthrough, but nothing worth mentioning really. The Xbox 360 version of this game has some updated features like bullet holes and facial animations on NPCs, as well as better lighting and higher resolution, and it still boasts better frame rate consistency than the previous gen version. It's a proper upgrade, and like I said, I think the definitive version. It's pretty impressive, as there's a lot of NPC scheduling and the aforementioned physics on this limited hardware, and the detailed levels and all the moving parts are accomplished by keeping the overall total level size relatively small, but they're fairly complex. It's certainly small when compared to open world games in the same era that were plagued by much worse performance issues. And I think overall that serves the game better and was a great design choice. So what do I think after all these years? Well, Hitman Blood Money is an awesome game. The first one that feels like a proper Hitman game. This was the sweet spot where the pieces really came together to make the game the players really wanted. The freedom of player choice without the random punishment of bad system design that plagued the earlier Hitman games. This is a real treat to play still today, and my favorite in the series that I've played. Though I haven't tried the more modern rebooted titles yet, I think I probably should. If you enjoyed this review and want to help me out, like the video, but also check out the perfect 10 out of 10 Part 2 list that I just put up. It's 10 amazing Xbox 360 games, and you may find this game on the list, as well as some of the other game reviews that I've done recently on the channel. Stay tuned, because there's more to come, and thanks for stopping by.